Trent Kling filling in for my pal Josh Lettner this week as the Pittsburgh Purple Dragons on the road to take on the Ulysses Tigers. Ulysses coming in at 2-2 on the season, 2-2 in the Great West Athletic Conference. Meanwhile, Pittsburgh a perfect 4-0 coming off of two barn burners against Blue Valley North and Fort Scott, respectively. Ulysses began the season on the road at Colby, a very tough Colby team. They're 4-0 right now. They lost that game 43-20, bounced back with back-to-back victories in conference against Goodland and Hugoton, and then dropped a game last week to Scott City 47-0. And Scott City, their defense has yet to allow a point on the campaign, or through that game at least they had yet to allow a point on the season. So Ulysses sitting at, like I said, 2-2, and Pittsburgh a very long trek. They stayed the night in Garden City, did a little bit of a walkthrough, but it was frigid last night in Garden City. It was kind of cold this morning as well, as a cold front came off of the mountains in Colorado, but the sun shining now, and we're projected to see a high of 82 degrees here in Ulysses. Well, previewing this game, the Ulysses Tigers, they're going to show you multiple looks on offense. They'll show you a little split back. Sometimes they'll show you some wing T. Sometimes they'll show you some shotgun as well. Their offense averages 285 yards per game, and it was averaging over 350 yards per game before that contest against Scott City, but still their offense putting up 28 points per game, and it's nothing to sneeze at with this Western Kansas competition. We talked about Colby and Scott City. They're both undefeated. We know how good Holcomb is, of course, after they won a state championship last year. Elkhart in Southwest Kansas having a great campaign to this point. So some good football out here in Western Kansas, and this will be the first time Pittsburgh will get a chance to see it, at least not on film. For the Purple Dragons this year, they're throwing the ball a little bit more than they have in some seasons past. In fact, their play selection, 134 plays on the ground, 73 through the air, and part of that is their ability to use Ty Rourke, the quarterback for the Purple Dragons. 8 touchdowns so far in the campaign, 714 yards through only 4 games, and he's complemented with a two-headed attack in the backfield of Brett Freeman and Brandis Evans. But one update in terms of the lineup for Pittsburgh today is that Jarek Butcher will actually be moving to the offensive side of the ball. He'll stay on the defensive side of the ball, of course. He's the team's leading tackler and has 3 interceptions this season, but he'll be moving to tight end as a result of Peyton Steele being out for today's game. One other injury update, Sam Rourke, who is questionable. He is dressed and may see some playing time tonight for the Pittsburgh Purple Dragons. I say tonight, really an afternoon, and it is cleared up to be a gorgeous day here in Western Kansas. A grass field in Ulysses, well tended. It's a very green field, very thick, and because there was some moisture overnight, it was also very wet, and we'll see how that affects the game as well, going from mostly playing on field turf for Pittsburgh to now playing in very, very thick grass. We'll see how that affects their speed, especially on the edges. So again, Ulysses Pittsburgh scheduled to take place about 26 minutes or so from now. What we'll do from here is we'll send it back to the studio. We've got a pregame chat with the head coach of the Ulysses Tigers, Rick Q, and we'll also talk with Tom Nicholson, head coach of the Pittsburgh Purple Dragons. That's all right here live on KSEK and the MyTown Media Radio Network. Back at Maxwell Field in Ulysses, Trent Kling with you here. Big thanks to Skylar Friedel back in the studio helping us produce today's ball game, and also a big thanks to Mike Snow helping out with the video feed for today's ball game from back in Pittsburgh. Also, Lindsay Kling told me to tell everyone she was helping out on video too. We couldn't get a videographer, so next best thing is travel companion. All right, your starting lineups for this afternoon's game. We start with the Ulysses Tigers and the Ulysses Tigers offense. Left tackle number 74, Dawson Hudson. He's a 6 foot, 200-pound sophomore. Next to him, a guy a lot of people talk about when they talk about this Ulysses team, Lalo Sanchez. He's a 5'10", 190-pound senior. He is a tough guy to move on the offensive line. Jace Garrison's the center, a 6'2", 210-pound junior. Darwin Maxwell next to him at right guard, a 5'8", 225-pound senior. Alex Corpus at right tackle, a 5'10", 200-pound junior. And Sloan Hayden will be playing at tight end. He, another person a lot of people talk about when they talk about this Ulysses team, 6'5", 210 pounds. He's a stoutly built junior. At wideout, Julius Cifuentes, a 6 foot, 175-pound senior, will be opposite Victor Perez, a 6 foot, 180-pound senior. Now, granted, starting lineups in terms of wide receivers for Ulysses, very variable. So those two will be starting, but you'll see a lot of different players getting playing time at wideout today. In the backfield, Edgar Soto, a 5'10", 160-pound junior, and Coy Kenny, the son of recently deceased coach Jason Kenny, of course, passed away this summer, a 6'1", 185-pound sophomore. And, of course, Coach Q mentioned him during the pregame interview, talking about how impressed he's been with the sophomores' composure this season. And finally, Devin Walker, the quarterback, a 6'9", 215-pound senior. That's Ulysses Tigers offensive starters. Let's look at the Pittsburgh Purple Dragons defensive starters. On the defensive line, Ben Bookout at defensive end, a 6'2", 208-pound senior. At D-tackle, Shea Munkin at 5'8", 200-pound junior. And then Aaron Woods on the opposite D-end, a 6'2", 195-pound junior. In the linebacking core for the 3-4 defense of the Dragons, Trenton Austin, one of their leading tacklers, a 6'2", 200-pound senior. Jarek Butcher, their leading tackler, a 6'1", 225-pound senior. Ethan Weidert at linebacker as well, a 6 foot, 185-pound junior. And then Dylan Jordan, a 6'3", 202-pound senior. Defensive backs for the Dragons at corner, Dylan White, the speedster, 6'1", 168-pound junior. Ben Brinegar, a 5'10", 160-pound junior. Opposite him at strong safety, Brett Weimers, a 6'1", 150-pound senior. And then Joel Kafka is playing free safety, be center field for the Dragon defense, a 6'2", 174-pound senior. So those are your starting lineups. The time and temperature of today's game, well, the time, we've got just 2 minutes before the top of the 2 o'clock hour here in Ulysses. Just a hop, skip, and a jump away from mountain time, though. And so it does get dark here later. It is very bright, 69 degrees with a wind gusting out of the south. Gusts above 20 miles per hour, but a constant wind at about 12. Ulysses will be heading into the wind as Pittsburgh has elected to defer to the second half. They'll kick off right to left. Ulysses returning, therefore, from left to right. Ulysses in all black uniforms. Back in black, the theme for this season. Black pants, black jerseys, black helmets, orange face masks, white numerals. Pittsburgh in their road camo pants with purple stripes on the side, white uniforms, purple numerals, purple helmets with the classic P on the sides. Caden Bressler will kick off from right to left for the Dragons, and we are underway from Ulysses on this Saturday afternoon. Strong kick from Bressler. It'll be handled on the near side by Alonzo Martinez. Cuts it outside the hash mark at the 15, and he's taken down at the 24-yard line by the Dragons. Special teams tackle made by the Dragons, Ben Brinegar. And now Brinegar will assume a spot on defense for the Dragons. It'll be 1st and 10, Ulysses from their own 24. And the drive will start just a few seconds into the first quarter, 11:54 left in the first quarter. They'll start with a 2-back set, will Ulysses. The big, rangy quarterback under center, Devin Walker. The handoff goes left side. Edgar Soto is wrapped up in the backfield, but he's able to keep his feet moving to get back to the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play, bringing up 2nd down and 10. Good initial push by the left side of the Ulysses offensive line, but a couple of Dragons got their paws back into the backfield, able to keep Soto from moving forward. So once again, Devin Walker, that 6'9" quarterback. They'll play a little bit of gun with him. Right now, two wideouts at either side, tight end to the near, split backfield with Soto to the far, and then Trey Chavez to the near side. Turn, fake the handoff to Chavez, play action, rolling to the near side as Walker fires it downfield, and the ball skips into the belly of Victor Perez at the 35-yard line, incomplete. Defensed on the play by Brett Wiemers on the near sideline, intended at the 35, and that'll bring up 3rd and 10. So the first pass attempt for Dylan Walker falls incomplete. And one of the things Coach Nicholson told me before the game is that they're used to playing tall, rangy quarterbacks. A lot of the Blue Valley and Olathe quarterbacks have this type of height. Walker under center on 3rd and 10. Turns around, hands it up to Chavez, and he'll be up all the way to the 33-yard line, close to a first down, trying it out left side. They have a bit of a number change, and that's one of the reasons why we have a little bit of a hiccup there, but now 4th down and 1 coming up for Ulysses. It looks like they'll switch out and bring the special teams unit on. Jet Moyer on to punt. He'll stand at his own 19. Back to return, Dylan White and Joel Kafka. And they'll fake punt it off to the left side, and once again, this is Chavez carrying it across the left, across the 40 to the 45-yard line, and the fake punt works for a gain of 12 and a first down. They'll mark him all the way forward, in fact, to the 46-yard line. So Ulysses with a fresh set of downs at their own 46, ball set at the far hash mark, wing back to the right side, split backfield, lone wide receiver out to the far for Walker, who will bend underneath center. Walker calls for the snap, takes it, the handoff near side to Soto. Soto trying to get off tackle, doesn't get that far, but is able to keep his legs moving all the way to the 50. A remarkable effort from Soto. He was wrapped up and taken down by Trenton Austin. A gain of 4 after he was hit at the line of scrimmage. That really all effort there for Soto. Wanted to get outside the tackle on the near side. Pittsburg forced him back up the middle, but he was able to keep his legs moving against the strong Pittsburgh linebacking core. Butcher also in the neighborhood on that particular play. Still split backfield formation back behind Devin Walker, the quarterback. One wide to the near side, one wide to the far, tight end set to the right. Walker calls for the snap, handoff up the middle. It'll go to Chavez, and he's wrapped up and taken down at the line of scrimmage this time. Stop made by Sam Herring up front, and Ethan Weidert also there to help out. Weidert coming up from his linebacker position, his inside linebacker position. No gain for the Tigers. 3rd down and 6 at midfield. 9:06 remaining in a scoreless first quarter here in Ulysses. Sun shining bright in the sky on the all-black uniforms of the Tigers. They'll line up once again, split back to the near side, tight end to the near side. Split backfield for Walker. Walker takes the snap, motions, then gives to the slot back. That's Perez. He's into space across the 45, down to the 41-yard line, and another first down for the Tigers. This time the conversion on 3rd down and a gain of 9 for the slot back Victor Perez, who lined up to the near side. They faked the give to Soto up the middle and then gave it to Perez, who raced off the left side towards the first down. The ball just shy of the Dragon 40-yard line. It's at the Dragon 41, ball set near the far hash mark, and for the first time, Ulysses will go gun. 2 wide to either side. Soto to Walker's left hip in the backfield. Walker surveys the defense, takes the snap, it slips through his hand, he's able to regather, he's chased out of the pocket, throws into empty space on the near side, incomplete, and we'll see if this might be grounding. There was not a receiver in the neighborhood there, and I think Walker might have been still in between the tackle box. They'll go ahead and throw the flag, kind of an ex post facto deal. But Walker, I don't think, made it outside the tackle box as he was trying to throw it away, and the nearest player on the field over on this near side would have been Trenton Austin. And so Walker comes over to the sideline, gets a few words of encouragement from the coaching staff, and this will mark it back all the way to the Ulysses 37-yard line. and it brings with it a loss of down. So a huge penalty, an effective penalty of 23 yards against Ulysses. So tough penalty to swallow. Walker back to pass on this one, throws it up for grabs, and it is caught on the far side at the 47-yard line. That ball hung up there for forever, but was brought down by Sloan Hayden, the big tight end. Comes up with the play. So again, after the loss due to penalty and the loss of down, that was a big pitch and catch. Hayden bringing in the first completed pass of the day for the Tigers, and it goes for a gain of 15 yards. Not back to the original line of scrimmage, but it'll be 3rd down and 16, so it at least cuts into it a little bit. Walker calls for the snap. Man in jet motion is Soto, left to right, and the play blown dead, and it looks like Pittsburgh jumped offside. So that penalty yardage will potentially prove useful there for Ulysses. So after a 16-yard pitch and catch, the Dragons hop offside, give Ulysses another 5 yards, and now it's 3rd and a much more manageable 11. Shotgun formation. Once again, Soto in jet sweep motion left to right. Walker takes the snap, rolling out to the near side, chased out of the pocket, throws deep downfield. Potential contact there as the Ulysses receiver, Victor Perez, fell down, and the ball falls incomplete at the 20. And I think Perez may have fallen victim to the grass monster in this circumstance. Joel Kafka in the neighborhood, but they'll either call it incidental contact or no contact whatsoever. And so 4th and 11 coming up for the Tigers, who are kind of in no man's land. This drive has looked good at times. They got a 4th down conversion early on a fake punt, and then a 3rd down conversion, but now they seek to punt on this 4th down and 11. Jet Moyer to do the honors. He'll boot it away from his own 45. It's a low line drive kick, bounces at the 20, hops off a Tiger at the 15, and it'll be down at the 14-yard line. Down by Edgar Soto, and so the Dragons will get their first opportunity at offense here after the punt for Ulysses. So PHS, not great field position at their own 14 to begin this drive, but it is scoreless. Their defense did hold Ulysses with 7:05 to play in the first quarter, and now Pittsburgh's offense comes out onto the field for the first time. Ty Rourke under center, I formation backfield, toss sweep, out to the near side to Freeman. Freeman outside the numbers at the 15, outside the numbers at the 20, and then is chased out of bounds. It's at the 21. 2 flags on the play, one thrown after the play, one thrown during the play, and we might get offsetting penalties here as you wonder if that flag deep in the backfield may be against Pittsburgh, and then the flag that came after the play might have been for some extra contact after the whistle. So we get a hold against Pittsburgh, and then a dead ball foul, personal foul against Ulysses. So the officials will take time to get all of this sorted out. And now they'll talk to each team here. So there have been plenty of flags to this point in the game. We're not even halfway through the first quarter, and we've seen 4 total flags thrown, which is not the usual for the 5th high school football game of the season. So they're going to walk back the holding penalty from the 18, which they'll say was where the flag was meant to be thrown, and then mark off the personal foul penalty from the 9. So the holding penalty against Pittsburgh took them half the distance, and then that personal foul penalty against Ulysses, boy, that's a tough one to swallow. It'll put Pittsburgh up at the 24 now, and it'll give them first down in inches. You don't see this very often, first down in inches at the 24-yard line. And so for Pittsburgh, as long as you don't have any negative plays here, you might be able to take a few shots. We'll see if Tom Nicholson deviates from the script or whether he decides to take a few shots here. Is Rourke back in the shotgun. Jet sweep left side to right for Dylan Jordan, who's tripped up in the backfield. I think he might have gotten tangled up with one of his own blockers there at the 21-yard line, and he'll fall down for a 3-yard loss. Tough play for Dylan Jordan as he had some room to run off of the right side, but Jordan got caught up in the feet of one of his own blockers, and so it's 2nd down and 3 for the Dragons. Rourke with trips to the near side. Brandis Evans by his lonesome to Rourke's left in the backfield. Rourke takes the snap, rolls out to the near side, looks downfield, fires, has Kapka at the 30-yard line for the first down, and Kapka will dive forward to the 33. A pickup of 12 on the pitch and catch between Ty Rourke and Joel Kapka. Kapka not listed as a starter on offense, but again, just like with Ulysses, he comes in a lot, sees a lot of playing time, and now they've decided to adjust the down marker, so now they'll say this is 3rd down after that catch because they'll say Pittsburgh had enough for the first down after the personal foul penalty in this circumstance, and so the Dragons up to the line, 3rd down and 1. I formation backfield with Evans the fullback, Evans the give, and he'll plunge up the middle, have the first down to the 35, reaches forward to the 36-yard line. So a gain of 3 when he needed 1. Evans has been that go-to guy for the Dragons when they need that carry in between the tackles. They need a few yards up the middle. And his first carry goes for a first down for the Dragons. That'll be officially marked their 2nd first down of the contest. Evans once again to Rourke's left in the backfield, trips to the near side for the Dragons. The throw going to the far side. White all alone in behind the defense. 30, 35, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown. Dylan White, the speedster, and Rourke threw a dime right into his lap. The touchdown going for 64 yards from Ty Rourke to Dylan White, and that's the benefit speed can provide at the high school level. We see that right there as Dylan White had a good 5 steps on his defender down the right sideline, trips to the near side. Instead, they threw to the lone wide out to the far side, and White and Rourke again put the ball right in his lap as he was running in stride at the 32. He caught it and raced in from there. And Caden Bressler on to attempt the extra point. He's been nearly automatic on those so far this season, and he capitalizes on this attempt with 5:11 left to play in the first quarter. It's 7-0. Dragons lead over the Ulysses Tigers. We're back in 30 seconds. This is high school football coverage on the MyTown Media Radio Network. Pittsburgh caps off a 4-play, 86-yard scoring drive with a 64-yard pitch and catch from Ty Rourke to Dylan White. The extra point good from Caden Bressler, and it's 7-0. Dragons lead it here in Ulysses over the Tigers. 5:11 left to play in the first quarter, and Bressler on to boot it away. Bressler puts a charge into it. A deep kickoff handled at the 1 by Martinez. Alonzo Martinez cuts back at the 15, is held up and nearly lost the football as Pittsburgh attempting the strip, but was able to hold on to it all the way down to the turf, and Ulysses will take it at their own 19. I say turf. In this circumstance, we're playing on grass, and the grass, again, very thick. Before the game got a chance to walk the field, there's some precipitation overnight and into the morning here in Ulysses. Very cloudy, but now the sun's out, so a lot of moisture off the field. Pittsburgh comes up with 8 men in the box against the split backfield of Ulysses. Walker takes the snap, the give right up the middle. Once again, this is Chavez, and he'll pick up 9 to the 27-yard line. Nothing fancy about that play. Simple dive up the left side for Ulysses. They'll mark him for a gain of 8, in fact. And so 2nd down and 2 coming up for Ulysses. Ball set at the near hash mark. They need to their own 29-yard line. They're at their own 27. Split backfield. Wing back to the near side for Walker underneath center. Devin Walker takes the snap. This time the give is to Soto, and Soto has his progress arrested near the line of scrimmage, but as he's done to this point, he's able to keep his feet moving. Finally brought down by Dylan Jordan, and he'll gain near the line to gain. He'll pick up about a yard, but he needed 2. So Soto just short, and it's 3rd down and inches for Ulysses. And the way they've played this game so far, they're using some what are often called in football David techniques against the Goliath Pittsburgh. Went for it on 4th down with a fake punt. 3rd and inches. You figure this is 2-down territory for them if they don't lose a ton of yardage. Walker underneath center. Walker takes the snap. The handoff to Chavez. He's held up by the big linebacker Jarek Butcher, but he keeps his feet moving and gains the 1st down across the 30 to the 31. So he picks up 3 despite first contact being made in the backfield. The Tigers break the huddle and back up to the line of scrimmage on the near side. Hash, Walker underneath center. Split backfield, 1 wide out to either side. Tight end to the near side as Ulysses has lined up most of this game. The give on the counter to Soto. Soto trying near side, just inside right tackle across the 33. Picked up and pushed backward by Aaron Woods and Jarek Butcher at the 34. The officials will blow the play dead after a gain of 3. Again, Pittsburgh leading at 7-0, 3:01 to play in the first quarter. Shotgun this time for the Tigers. Empty backfield. 1 tight end to the near. Twins to either side for Ulysses. Walker calling for the snap on 2nd down and 7. Soto in jet sweep motion. It's a little shovel pass. It pops into the air, is picked up by Dylan Jordan, and he falls down at the 32-yard line with an interception. Well, that play went not the way Ulysses was expecting. They'd set up the shovel pass off the jet sweep motion left to right, and they're going to mark Jordan's interception forward to the 30. So a nice athletic play by Dylan Jordan, who tumbled forward to take the loose football. And now Pittsburgh at the Ulysses 30-yard line to begin this drive with 2:33 remaining in the first quarter, and the give is to Freeman. Freeman is hog-tied and thrown back by Coy Kenny at the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play. It'll be 2nd and 10. But still, the defensive effort from Dylan Jordan. And initially, there were 3 Dragons in the backfield that made picking up that shovel pass a little bit difficult for the Tigers. The reason it popped into the air and allowed Jordan to get to it in the first place. Evans to Rourke's left in the backfield. Shotgun set. Rourke once again tries for White right side. White on the bubble screen runs back towards the center of the field. He'll get only to the 28 before he is taken down by Oscar Martinez for Ulysses. They'll mark him, in fact, back to the 29-yard line. So the bubble screen good for just a yard. They're trying to utilize Dylan White's speed out on the edge. Now 3rd down and 9 for the Dragons at the Ulysses 29-yard line. Bressler does have decent field goal range, probably not this long, and Pittsburgh looks a bit confused here on offense. Couldn't figure out where to set up, and so Tom Nicholson will call timeout. Dragons facing a 3rd and 9 when we return in 30 seconds. This is high school football coverage in the MyTown Media Radio Network. The Dragons have 3rd and 9 at the Ulysses 29-yard line after a Dylan Jordan interception set Pittsburgh up in Ulysses territory. 1:30 remaining in the first quarter. Dragons lead by a touchdown at 7-0. Butcher lines up as tight end to the right side. Dragons with Evans in the backfield to the left, trips to the near side. Rourke motioning out to the left side, fires a pass that's caught. An excellent catch by Trenton Austin on the near side. The multi-sport star able to use his lengthy wingspan, go up and get it. That throw came in high from Rourke, not a problem for Austin. He has it complete at the 14 and out of bounds, and it's a first down for Pittsburgh after a 15-yard gain. Austin not targeted a ton in this Dragon offense, but he does have a few catches so far on the year. Showed his mitts on that particular grab. And now I formation, tight end to the right side. The gift to Freeman, once off tackle to the right, gains a yard, and that's about it. Grabbed around the waist and tossed back by Lalo Sanchez, one of the players to watch we mentioned for Ulysses before the game, and actually give Freeman a spot just back to the line of scrimmage. So nothing doing on that particular run for Brett Freeman, his second of the game, and now the Dragons with 2nd and 10 after a nice play by the Ulysses defensive lineman. Rourke under center, tight end to the near side, wide out to either side, and everyone moves prior to the snap for Pittsburgh. This will mark him back 5 yards. I think there was some confusion potentially as to the snap count as both offensive linemen and players in the backfield moved before Rourke had the football. 2nd down and 15 now coming up after the Dragons' 3rd penalty of the game. So we've already seen 5 penalties here. 50 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Ulysses' defense trying to come through with a stop. They trail Pittsburgh 7-0 on a 64-yard touchdown pass from Ty Rourke to Dylan White on their first drive of the first half. Butcher lines up as tight end to the right side. Twins to the near side, including Kafka in the slot. Rourke takes the shotgun snap, throwing deep in the end zone. Incomplete. White well covered. He was bookended by Julius Cifuentes and Edgar Soto on either side of him. And so that pass falls incomplete and brings up 3rd and 15. Honestly, if you're Rourke, that's exactly where you want to put the pass because there wasn't a chance of that being picked off. And essentially only White could have gotten to it, but he was well covered on the play. So 3rd down and 15 for the Dragons. Once again at the Ulysses 19-yard line. They are near Caden Bressler's field goal range. His long on the year is 34. Brandis Evans to the left of Rourke. Twins to either side. Shotgun set. Rourke takes the snap. Under pressure. Throws for the end zone. Caught. Touchdown. Back corner of the end zone. Joel Kafka. Rourke stood in the face of pressure and delivered a strike to the back right corner of the end zone, and it's 13-0 Pittsburgh. The 2nd touchdown pass for the senior quarterback today. And I think as good as that throw was, the fact that it took place under duress made it all the more notable. A 6-play, 30-yard drive that took 2:10 off the clock. Bressler on to attempt the extra point. Hold is down, and the kick is up and through. 14-0. Pittsburgh leading Ulysses. 23 seconds remaining in the first quarter, and we're back with the kickoff in 30 seconds. This is high school football coverage on the MyTown Media Radio Network. The Dragons able to turn a turnover into points. They cash in via a 19-yard connection between Ty Rourke and Joel Kafka. And it's 14-0 after the Bressler extra point. 2 passing touchdowns on the day for Ty Rourke. 5 of 6 through the air, 111 yards. He has been nearly flawless to this point. Ulysses has moved the ball on offense, just hadn't been able to get on the board to this point. Bressler kicks it away, right to left. This will be taken back at the 1 by Martinez. Martinez at the 10, the 15. He's hit at the 16, driven back at the 17-yard line. Good special teams tackle. This time it's Trenton Austin in on it, and Ulysses will start at their own 17-yard line. as I mentioned, Ulysses has been able to move the ball offensively when they put together sustained drives, but suffered a turnover on their last drive, an interception by Dylan Jordan of a shovel pass that popped out of the hands of the intended receiver, and then they drove deep into Pittsburgh territory before being backed up a little bit and forced to punt inside the Pittsburgh part of the 50. Now split backfield, the give once again on the counter, this time to Javian Bencomo, who is taken down at the 18-yard line. That's his first carry of the game. He's in the spot of Edgar Soto, who began the game in that slot in the backfield. So time will run out on the first quarter. It's 14-0 Dragons, but Ulysses with the ball at their own 18 when we return in 1 minute. This is high school football coverage on the MyTown Media Radio Network. Ulysses in their own territory. They're at their own 18. Second down and 9. And Javian Bencomo remains in the backfield. The give this time is to Andrew Nagel. And Nagel carries forward to the 19, getting only a yard on the dive. Nagel, 6 carries and 34 yards so far for Ulysses. He's been kind of their bell cow to speak of on the ground. Ulysses, no luck through the air so far, just 1 of 4. And once again, split backfield. This time Walker, play action, and could not evade the initial grasp of Bentley Bookout. And Ben Bookout takes him down, or helps to take him down. Coming in to help out was Dylan Jordan. Bookout grabbed him by the jersey at the 14, and Jordan knocked him back to the 13-yard line. A loss of 6 on the quarterback sack. And Ulysses now will be forced to punt. So I'd mentioned they've moved the ball pretty well on their first couple of drives, or at least it started to move the ball well. This drive, not the case. A yard into his own end zone, Jet Moyer back to punt it away. Moyer delivers the kick against pressure, and it's going to bounce at midfield. It was a great kick, but right into the hands of Dylan White. White makes a man miss at his own 44. Now outside the numbers on the far side at the 50, 40, turns on the Jets, 35, 30, cuts back, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. Dylan White, touchdown. It's coming back. There's a flag back at his own 47-yard line for a likely block in the back. That was an excellent return by Dylan White. We all know he's got great north-south speed, but that time he showed some east-west moves to evade the Ulysses defenders. We'll make sure this penalty is against Pittsburgh. And it indeed is. It's in fact a personal foul, not just a block in the back, but a personal foul against Pittsburgh. They'll mark them back 15 from the spot of the flag, which was their own 47-yard line. So that negates an excellent return by Dylan White and some good blocking on the far side. All it takes on one of those kick returns is one single illegal block, whether it matters or not. And that play is coming back. As a result, Pittsburgh backed up to their own 32-yard line with 10:39 left to go in the second quarter. Dragons have seen success through the air, 111 yards passing. So far, 0 yards rushing the ball on 4 attempts. Rourke under center. I formation, the give to Evans, the fullback, able to sprint through the line, is taken by the knees at the 38-yard line, gets all the way to the 40 before being taken down. An 8-yard gain, quick developing play for Brandis Evans on his second carry of the contest. So 2nd down and 2. Once again, we've seen the Dragons take some shots in this 2nd and 3rd and short to go situations, one wide to either side. This time Rourke turns and just hands to Evans. Evans keeps the legs churning. He'll have the first down across the 43 to the 44. He'll be taken down defensively by Trey Chavez, and a 4-yard gain will elicit another first down for the Dragons. They saw a few hiccups on their first drive. Their first couple of plays didn't really go as the coaching staff probably expected, but since then they've been moving the ball with regularity. 1st and 10 at their own 44. Shotgun set for Rourke. He'll give instead to Evans in the backfield. Evans motoring behind left guard, picks up across the 45 all the way to the 48-yard line. A gain of 4 on first down. Stopped by a combo of Tigers, but Edgar Soto in on the stop. 2nd down and 6 for the Dragons approaching. It's been all Brandis Evans this drive so far. 3 plays, 3 Evans rushes. He's up to 19 yards on the game. He'll remain in the backfield to Rourke's right. Trips to the near side for Pittsburgh. Rourke takes the snap. Moves out to the near side, looking to throw. Fires it complete to Kafka at the Ulysses 49-yard line. Driven back by Perez and taken out of bounds. It's Victor Perez on the stop. We'll see where they mark this ball. The near side officials marked him back to the 50, so they might say he was bobbling the ball. It'll be a gain of 2 on the catch by Kafka, his 3rd of the game. So the Dragons will have 3rd down and 4 at midfield. 9:05 remaining in the 2nd quarter. And the clock continues to run now under 9 minutes. Dragons will switch up personnel. Play clock kept on the field here in Ulysses as it runs down. Rourke, 2 backs in the shotgun set, 1 wide to either side. Rourke, straight drop, throws across the middle and incomplete. Intended a little high for Dennis Hikas at the 39-yard line. So Hikas was over his head, and he made a nice attempt, but couldn't bring it down. And 4th down in a punting situation now for Pittsburgh High. They got a first down on the drive, but the drive stalls at midfield, and they'll seek to simply pin Ulysses back deep in their own end. The Dragons will switch up personnel. A couple of late changes, and Dylan White will line up wide to the near side. They will not punt. They will go for it instead on 4th and 4. Thus the reason for the late personnel changes. Slip screen to the right side. Freeman across the 50 has the first down. 45, 40 inside the 40. Keeps his legs moving all the way down to the 33-yard line. Ridden to a stop by Victor Perez. So a late decision to go for it. The way they were changing out personnel for the Dragons, it looked like they may instead elect a punt, but instead they went for it on 4th down at midfield. It earns them a gain of 17 on the screen pass to Brett Freeman. And now 1st and 10 for the Dragons. I formation, tight end set to the far side. Quick handoff to Evans, and Ulysses was expecting it. Evans met right there at the line by Lalo Sanchez. Another nice stop for Sanchez. No gain on the play, brings up 2nd down and 10. The Dragons, gritty call to go for it. 4th and 4 at midfield. Screen pass worked for the first down, and now they're set up at the Ulysses 33, a 14-point lead and 7:50 left to go in the 2nd quarter. Shotgun set. Trips to the left side for Rourke. He'll take the snap, roll out, then fire back across his body, looking for White. White has it, touchdown! White simply outfought his 2 defenders at the goal line. He was sandwiched back there by Bencomo and Cifuentes, and White got around them to high point the football and score for the Dragons. A 33-yard touchdown. White's 2nd touchdown catch of the game. Rourke's 3rd touchdown pass of the game. And to this point, it is all Dragons. They lead now 20-0. Bressler on to attempt the extra point. With 7:37 left to go in the 2nd quarter. Snap is high, but the hold is down. Good job of holding there by Brett Wiemers. The kick is up and through. 21-0. The Dragons lead, and we're back in 30 seconds. This is high school football coverage on the MyTown Media Radio Network. The drive for the Dragons capped off after 8 plays with a 33-yard touchdown from Rourke to White, their second connection of the game. And the extra point good, meaning the Dragons lead it 21-0. 7:37 left to go in the second quarter. Bressler to kick it from left to right this time, so he's kicking it into the teeth of the wind. His last few kickoffs have gone down to the 1. This one is a little bit more of a line drive. It will be taken at the 24-yard line by Dominic Eddy, and Eddy able to work his way up the middle all the way to the 35 and give Ulysses some good field position. So Ulysses will start this drive at their own 35. 7:31 to play in the second quarter. And Ulysses' run defense has played the Dragons well. Just 2 yards per carry for Pittsburgh on the ground, but Ty Rourke's 8 for 10, 162 yards and 3 scores as the Dragons out in front. Walker quickly up to the line. He'll take a quick shotgun snap, look out to the near side, and a diving attempt at a catch at the Tigers 42 could not be brought in by Andrew Nagel. And as a result, it'll bring up 2nd down and 10. Walker came up to the line very quickly and called for the snap without any looking around. That's unusual for him because he, to this point in the game, has come up to the line, kind of looked around, made sure everyone was in position. Not that time. They took a quick snap. Split backfield this time for the Tigers. The give once again on the counter. This will go to Bencomo. Bencomo nearly brought down by his jersey, able to stay on his feet. Good balance for Javian Bencomo, the senior, and he gets to the 39-yard line. Following right guard brings up 3rd down and 5 for the Tigers. Bencomo's second carry of the game. We saw Edgar Soto in that position earlier for the Tigers. It's been all Bencomo here in the second quarter. He'll line up to the near, Nagel to the far in the split backfield for the Ulysses Tigers. The give to Nagel. Nagel bounces off one tackle. Then Jarek Butcher comes back to finish off the play. There was a Dragon that jumped over the top of the pile. That was Aaron Woods that came in to try to finish the pile down to the ground. And a gain of 2 brings up 4th and 3. Butcher was the first in to hit Nagel in the backfield. Nagel bounced off of him. Butcher redoubled his efforts and got back to him, and now Ulysses will show punt formation here on the 4th and 3 to try to fake punt earlier. Right now, line of scrimmage, their own 41. Moyer will once again fake the punt, and again the snap goes directly to Nagel, and Nagel this time is stacked up at the 40. The Dragons expecting at a loss of 1, and the Dragons take over in prime position. This will be their second drive that will start inside Ulysses territory. This drive will start at the Ulysses 40-yard line with 6:08 left to play in the second quarter after the fake punt did not work against the Dragons. Ulysses 1 for 2 on the fake punt category today. I formation for Rourke. He'll line his team up with the tight end to the left. That's Butcher. One wide out to either side. Rourke takes the snap. The give to Evans, and Evans has his legs cut underneath him at the line of scrimmage. Again taken down by Jackson Becker for Ulysses. He's been in on the last couple of run stops for Ulysses. And now this will be 2nd down and 10. Rourke will send Freeman in motion. The give again goes to Evans. This time Evans met by Victor Perez, bounces off of Perez, cuts to the left side, and then Becker finishes him off for just a gain of 1. So 2 carries for Brandis Evans for 1 yard on this drive, and now here is 3rd down and 9. Rourke under center, I formation backfield, twins to the near side. He'll send Hikus in motion right to left. Rourke will fake the play to Freeman, rolls out of the pocket, throws to the near side. It was along the ground, and it was caught, they'll say, by Dylan White. Couldn't see from here whether he was able to scoop it before it hit the grass, but he did. That's at the 28-yard line, and that'll go for a 1st down. So first down for the Dragons on the 9th completion for the Pittsburgh quarterback. So first and 10, the give up the middle to Evans. Evans bounces off a tackler, but then is sandwiched by Jesse Rosales and Victor Perez. So gain of 2. It'll be second down and 8 now for the Dragons. Ball spotted at the Ulysses 31. I formation for Rourke. 2 tight ends set to the near side. They'll go to the near side with Freeman. Freeman cuts from right to left, though. He's got space. 20, 15, 10. It's a race to the pylon. 5, and he's in. Touchdown, Brett Freeman. He's in from 26 yards out for his first touchdown rush of the game and the first rushing touchdown for Pittsburgh. Coming at 3:54 remaining in the second quarter, making the score 27-0. Waiting on the extra point from Caden Bressler. The hold will once again be applied by Brett Wiemers. The hold is down, the kick is up, and no good. Wide to the right-hand side. Pushed it to the right, kicking into the wind on this side. And so it's 27-0. The Dragons lead with 3:54 remaining in the second quarter. This coming after, once again, the Dragons started a drive in Ulysses territory and capitalized this time on a 5-play drive spanning 40 yards. So we'll take a 30-second break and come back with the kickoff. Dragons lead 27-0. This is high school football coverage in the MyTown Media Radio Network. Welcome back to Ulysses. 4th touchdown of the game scored by the Purple Dragons. This one on a Brett Freeman run. Started to his right, went to his left instead. Now the kickoff. Welcome back, everyone, to Ulysses, where the Tigers trailing the Pittsburgh Purple Dragons at half, 27-0. Let's go through some very unofficial first half stats. I say unofficial because my stat keeper crashed about midway through the second quarter, so we'll get you the stats as updated as possible here. But no guarantees in terms of the official nature of these stats. We'll start out with the Purple Dragons of Pittsburgh. Brandis Evans, 6 carries for 21 yards on the day. Dylan Jordan, 1 carry for -3. He got tripped up in the backfield on a jet sweep. Dylan White, 1 carry for 5. Ty Rourke, 2 for -18. One of those happening on a wayward snap, and one of those on a quarterback sack, not snack, Freudian slip there maybe, and Brett Freeman, 3 carries for 6 yards. Total, Dragons haven't seen a ton of success on the ground to this point. Brett Freeman, 4 carries, I should say, for 32 yards. He did have a 26-yard touchdown scamper. So 14 carries, 37 yards, 2.6 yards per carry on the ground for the Dragons. They found tough sledding there, but through the air, Ty Rourke is 10 of 12 for 214 yards and 3 scores, 4 catches and 138 yards for Dylan White. Joel Kafka with 3 catches for 33 yards. Brett Freeman, 2 for 28, and Trenton Austin, 1 for 15. Overall, Dragons with 251 yards of total offense. For the Ulysses Tigers, and this might be the more difficult part because, as I mentioned, the stats program kind of failed during a Ulysses drive in particular, so trying to put in all of those numbers at the last moment, but at least rushing the football. Javian Bencomo, 3 carries for 6 total yards. Victor Perez with 1 carry for 9. Edgar Soto, 4 carries for 8 yards. Devin Walker, 3 carries, -28 yards. A lot of that due in large part to quarterback sacks by Pittsburgh, and Andrew Nagel, 6 carries for 34 yards. Through the air, Devin Walker has attempted a total of 12 passes. Of those 12 passes, 4 complete for a total of 51 yards. Sloan Hayden with 1 catch for 16 yards. Victor Perez with 1 catch for 15 yards. And Julius Cifuentes, 1 catch for 14 yards for the Ulysses Tigers. So, again, those are your halftime stats. Ulysses shy of 100 yards in total offense on the day. Dragons, like I said, with 251. And it really tells the story of the game here from Maxwell Field, all in one encapsulation. Let's go ahead and take another 3-minute break, and we'll come back with the start of the second half. This is high school football coverage on the MyTown Media Radio Network. Welcome back, everyone, to Ulysses. Once again, Trent Kling with you here today. We apologize. We had some technical difficulties as far as the internet coverage here at Ulysses, so therefore a little bit of a drop in the broadcast towards the end of the first half. The two teams just basically exchanging possessions, trying to get something on the board before the end of the half and unable to do so. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at some of the action from around the area, most notably Pittsburgh action here as the St. Mary's Colgan Panthers went on the road. They played at Circle or at Towanda High School against Abilene, lost a close decision 22-20 in that game. So the second consecutive loss for Colgan, both fairly close losses, if you will. The loss a couple of weeks ago to Centralia, so Colgan now sitting at 3-2 overall as they are on the precipice of their district play. Other games from around the area yesterday, Girard knocked off Anderson County 35-21. It's a big win for Neil Philpott's crew. Columbus took care of Baxter 52-14. Coffeyville dropped a close one to Mulvane 28-20. Independence dropping one to Chanute as Chris Shields, those Blue Comets looking pretty tough at this point in the season. 40-6 the final score in that one. Other games of note in our area, 8-man action, Marmaton Valley 52, Crest 6, Humboldt 63 over Erie nothing. Humboldt, it seems to be on some kind of a roll as they have been just a absolute threat to every team in the area that they have played, putting up oftentimes 40 to 50 points by halftime. Cherryvale dropped a close one to Fredonia, 7-0. That's Cherryvale's second consecutive very close loss. Talk about a close game. Frontenac edging out undefeated or previously undefeated Parsons, 7-6. Huge win for Mark Smith's crew because this Parsons team, I'm telling you, they're going to threaten as the season goes on. Galena earning a victory over Caney Valley, 34-16. Usually those two teams are matching up in either district play or the playoffs, and it was district play in this circumstance. Galena notching the hard-fought victory. Iola 42 over Osawatomie 19. Elsewhere around southeast Kansas, you had Lewisburg knocking off Eudora. That's to the northern part of southeast Kansas, at least, 34-0. Some people don't consider Lewisburg southeast Kansas. Right there on the northern edge of southeast Kansas, if you will. Olpe over Uniontown, 48-6. That was a game Olpe led big at halftime. Pleasanton took on Osceola, Missouri. Fun story there. They don't actually capitalize Kansas in their schools because they claim Kansas is neither a proper name or a proper place. Part of that is because they have some lingering bitterness over the Jayhawks back in the Civil War, but Pleasanton knocking them off 38-22. Dustin Johnson continuing his good run at the helm of Pleasanton as they're back in 11-man this year. Riverton over Northeast, 35-8 as Johnny Mallett gets his team's first victory of the season. Southern Coffee County over Chautauqua, 54-6 in 8-man action. St. Paul over Altoona Midway, 52-6. Coach Wyatrick always has his team playing tough around this time of year as they get into the heart of district play. And finally, Yates Center dropping a close one to Bluestem, 30-27. So those are some scores from around southeast Kansas. And we're just about ready for kickoff of the second half here. We've concluded the halftime show. We appreciate you sticking with us here. And for those that couldn't make the trek out to Ulysses, glad we could provide this game for you. That's one of the reasons why we have a Colorado-based broadcaster on the crew, because it's closer for someone in Colorado Springs to go to a game in Ulysses than it is for someone in Pittsburgh, one of the scheduling idiosyncrasies. And neither coach that I talked to this week was super pleased that the game was going on, but they say you play the schedule that's made, and in this case, Ulysses didn't have another opponent. Pittsburgh didn't have anyone else they could play, and so here we are, and Ulysses will be right back at it with this intra-state game, crossing the state to play Labette County 2 weeks from now. And honestly, if you're Pittsburgh, at least in that case, you can fill your schedule with games, because that's what Ulysses has had trouble doing, is basically just filling their schedule. One of the reasons they have an open week, but there's a lot of travel out here in the GWAL, so they're well used to the 2 to 3 hour bus rides, that is for certain. We're going to kick off the second half with Ulysses heading from right to left. They will kick to Pittsburgh heading from left to right, in handling the kicking duties in this circumstance is Maurice Ochoa. He'll kick it high into the air. It's taken at the 10 at the far hash mark by Freeman, and Freeman undercut at the 23-yard line. Great special teams tackle by Dominic Eddy, who had a good kick return earlier in the game for Ulysses. So Pittsburgh will begin the second half deep in their own territory, or at least as deep as they've been in their own territory the last few drives, at their own 23 with 11:55 remaining in the third quarter, and the Dragons leading 27-0. So the Dragons had scored on 4 consecutive drives to start the game, and then had the clock run out on their last drive of the first half, and had to punt on their second to last drive of the first half. I formation for Rourke in the backfield. It's Freeman dotting the I, and he'll take it on the toss sweep to the near side. He's wrangled to the ground by Coy Kenny. Another nice open field stop by Coy Kenny at the line of scrimmage, so no gain on the carry for Brett Freeman. And again, you can't say enough about both what Coy Kenny has done and then the rest of this Ulysses team has done in terms of bouncing back after what had gone down this summer. The passing of Jason Kenny, the longtime football coach there, and is well remembered here in Ulysses. His initials on the sides and the shoulders of a lot of the T-shirts here. And like I said, he was a big factor throughout Southwest Kansas, not only in terms of football, but athletics overall, and the impact that he made. Quick handoff to Brandes Evans. He'll gain 5 up the middle, brings up 3rd down and 5 for the Purple Dragons. And it should be mentioned that the Pittsburgh Booster Club actually brought with them a check to donate to Coach Kenny's foundation, so a great move there by the Pittsburgh Booster Club. 2 wide to either side for Rourke. He throws across the middle. It pops out of the hands of Austin into the hands of Victor Perez, and he's got the first Ulysses turnover of the game at the 35, wrestled down right there. So to this point, what has been a rare turnover for the Dragons. Victor Perez, who's been everywhere defensively, especially on the edges, Johnny on the spot, and Ulysses will take over at the Pittsburgh 35-yard line with 10:46 remaining in the third quarter, and a botched snap leads to Soto picking it up off the grass, and does well just to dive on the ground after picking it up. A loss of 5 yards on the play. But still, this turnover putting Ulysses in a good position, or perhaps the best position they've been put in all game long, despite that bad snap. And it's 2nd down and 15 now for them at the Pittsburgh 40 after this drive started at the Pittsburgh 35. That was only the 3rd incompletion all game long for Ty Rourke. 2 wide to either side for the quarterback. Walker slings it over the middle, has a man. It's Cifuentes, caught at the 29-yard line, hit hard down to the turf by Kafka at the 27-yard line. A gain of 13 brings up 3rd down and short. Walker getting right back into the swing of things with that sidearm sling. That's his 2nd completion to Cifuentes on the game. It's 3rd down and 2 for Ulysses. Big play either way over the next couple of downs for both of these teams. Split backfield. Walker a quick snap. Handoff on the fullback dive to Andrew Nagel, and Nagel working his way towards the 1st down marker. I don't think he's got it, though. I think he's got just a yard, and that's it. Nagel was running hard early on in the ball game and had collected a bunch of yards early on in the ball game, but since then Pittsburgh's been able to bottle him up, and it's 4th down and 1. Tigers will break the huddle. They're going for it here. And Walker up to the line. Devin Walker takes the snap and lunges his big 6'9" frame forward to the 25. He's got the 1st down. Needed a yard, got it. It's kind of a no-brainer type situation there when you've got a 6'9" quarterback. All he basically has to do is reach across the line to get the 1st down. He did, and now Ulysses a fresh set of downs at the Pittsburgh 25. 9 minutes remaining in the third quarter. It's 27-0. Ulysses trailing Pittsburgh high. Walker, shotgun set, 2 wides to either side, drops back, looks downfield, pump fakes, now out of the pocket, throws, has a man, caught, touchdown, Victor Perez. Perez deked his man on the near side, and Walker laid it right to him in traditional sidearm fashion for him at the 2, and it was an easy jaunt into the end zone from there for Perez. A 25-yard strike, and Ulysses on the board for the first time today. It's 27-6. It's the longest completion of the day for Ulysses. And it caps off a 5-play, 35-yard drive. Took just under 2 minutes off the clock. The hold down from Walker on the extra point. The kick is up in the air, and it does not make it through the uprights. It was off wide to the right side. So the extra point no good, but still Walker able to connect with Victor Perez on the near sideline. He gets into the end zone from 25 yards out, and Ulysses on the board. It's 27-6 Pittsburgh. We're back with the kickoff in 30 seconds. This is high school football coverage on the MyTown Media Radio Network. Back with you from Maxwell Field in Ulysses. The Tigers just getting on the board. A strike from Devin Walker to Victor Perez from 25 yards out. The extra point no good. 27-6 Pittsburgh leading. Pittsburgh will get the ball back for the second time in the second half. And this is a line drive kick that'll hop into the end zone for a touchback. Nice kickoff there by Maurice Ochoa. And so Pittsburgh will start this drive at their own 20-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Dragons, trying to answer the Ulysses drive for a score. 8:48 remaining in the third quarter. Rourke delivers the play to his teammates in the huddle. They'll come up to the line. Tight end set to the far side. I formation. One wide split to either side. Rourke takes the snap. Will pull it out of the belly of Evans, pitches it outside to Freeman, nearly lost it, but then regathers and is able to work his way across the 25 before being assisted to the grass by Jackson Becker at the 26. Pickup of 6 yards on the first down carry for Brett Freeman, and a good decision there from Rourke on the option. Evans would not have had much on the dive in between the tackles. So 2nd down and 4, ball spotted at the near hash mark for the Dragons at their own 26. Rourke will come out shotgun. Twins to the far side, tight end, and a wide out to the near side. Single back in the backfield. They'll put Dylan Jordan in jet sweep motion right to left. Jordan takes it on the jet sweep. 25-30. 35 turns it upfield at the 40. 45-50. He could go. 45, and he is saved from scoring by Javian Bencomo at the Ulysses 39-yard line. They're going to mark him back at the Ulysses 40. An excellent run, though, by Jordan. It'll go for 34 yards. 2nd carry of the game. Jordan looked for a second, like after he turned on the Jets, he was going to go, but Javian Bencomo, who took him with the right arm, was able to just get enough of him to bring him down. He was the last line of defense. 1st and 10 for the Dragons at the Ulysses 40. The give to Evans up the middle. Evans, stutter step at the line of scrimmage, picks his way across the 35 to the 34-yard line. Gain of 6 on the first down carry. And that's going to be crucial from here on out for the Dragons, because we mentioned their rushing game hadn't really put up big numbers, and even to this point they've only got 89 yards on the ground by unofficial tally, 214 though through the air. And if they can run out the rest of this clock on the ground, the Dragons and Tom Nicholson would be very happy. Drop back to pass though for Rourke out of the shotgun formation. Quick out left side to Dylan White, and White has it at the 25-yard line, is taken down right there. A gain of 9 on the 5th completion to White. He is having a career day in terms of receiving, 147 yards and 2 scores now for the Dragons. That'll move the chains once again. 223 yards through the air for Rourke. Under center, I formation. He'll give to the fullback Evans, and once again Evans keeping his feet churning across the line of scrimmage, across the 20, inside the Ulysses red zone at the 15, down to the 14-yard line, and that will move the chains once again on the gain of 11 on first down. Pittsburgh not messing around on this particular drive, trying to get things done through the ground game. Again, leading 27-6, 7 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Rourke breaks the huddle. Tight end set to the far side for the Dragons, one wide to either side. White's the wide out to the near side. He'll give to Freeman. Freeman cuts back at the line of scrimmage, is able to lower his head, get inside the 10 to the 9, a carry of 5 for Brett Freeman. Freeman's found a little bit easier sledding here in the latter portion of the first half and now early on in the second half. He had been bottled up for a little while early on in the first half. His first 3 carries went for a combined 1 yard, but since then he has managed to gain his fair share of yardage in space for the Dragons, that time rushing in between the tackles. Tight end set to the right side, twins to the far side. Rourke sends a man in motion on the left. They'll fake the give to Freeman. Rourke back to pass and does well just to hang on to the football as he is sacked by Trey Chavez back at the 16-yard line. Rourke pump faked, knew he was in trouble, and as I mentioned, did well just to tuck the football away in this circumstance. So it ends up being a loss on the play, back to the 16-yard line. Loss of 7 on the sack. And now the Dragons have 3rd down and 11 just outside the Ulysses 15-yard line. Rourke will have 3 wides to the far, just a tight end to the near. Rourke takes the snap, rolls out to the far side, fires for the end zone, and it is caught. Touchdown. A late signal from the official on that far side as he couldn't determine whether or not the receiver White was in bounds or not. He was indeed in bounds. And so the 3rd touchdown of the day going to number 4 of Pittsburgh, Dylan White, and his career day continues. That one from 16 yards out. And now on to attempt the extra point is Caden Bressler. So after a late signal from the official, it was determined that he just got a foot in bounds, and the extra point is up and good from Caden Bressler. It's 34-6. Pittsburgh answers the Ulysses score with 5:31 remaining in the third quarter, and we're back in 30 seconds. This is high school football coverage on the MyTown Media Radio Network. (34-6) our score. Dragons on top of Ulysses. 5:31 left to play in the third quarter. High school football game on a Saturday afternoon in western Kansas. And the latest touchdown scored on a pitch and catch from Ty Rourke to Dylan White, the 3rd Rourke to White touchdown of the day. Ty Rourke, 12 of 15, 239 yards and 4 scores. So very much a career day for him. A career day to this point for Dylan White offensively. He's had some good games, special teams and defensive-wise. And now the kick is up and away from Bressler. Taken by Soto at the 20. Reverses field at the 30. Might have some room at the 35. Is dragged nearly down by his jersey. Stays on his feet and is finally hit out of bounds on the near side by L.J. Butcher at the 40-yard line. So a good return by Soto. And Ulysses will have solid field position. Should mention Hike is also in on the stop for Pittsburgh there, along with L.J. Butcher. And so Ulysses with the ball at their own 40-yard line. Last drive looked good with a short field for Ulysses. We'll see what they come out with here. Walker, shotgun set, 2 wides to either side, and it's Soto to his left in the backfield. Walker calls for the snap. It's a low snap, picks it up. The 6'9 quarterback looks deep downfield, throws it high in the air. It's tipped away by Brenniger. Incomplete. Ben Brenniger in on coverage down the near sideline. It was tipped away from the intended receiver, which was Jordan Cifuentes. So we have Jordan and Julius Cifuentes out there for Ulysses. So the incompletion for Walker. His 10th incompletion of the day. He's thrown it a little bit more than perhaps what they wanted to. 5 of 15 through the air, 93 yards, and a touchdown for Walker. He's got 2 backs in the backfield now. Shotgun set. Walker fakes the give to Soto, drops back, dumps it off on the right side, and a little tight end screen to Sloan Hayden. He has it at the 38 across the 40 to the 42 before being tackled there. Tandem tackle by Ben Bookout and Jarek Butcher. Gain of just 3 on the tight end screen. It's interesting they're trying to get the big body Sloan Hayden out in space. He's got now 2 catches for 19 yards. And it's 3rd and 7, now for Ulysses. Underneath center is Walker. 2 backs in the backfield. Play action. And now off the play action, they'll give it to the wingback who is coming back against the grain, Perez. And he's taken down at the 40-yard line. A tackle in the backfield by Jarek Butcher, who leads the team in tackles for loss. Picks up another right there. A loss of 3 on the play. And brings up 4th down and 10 for the Tigers. So an incompletion. A gain of 3 yards through the air, and then a loss of 3 yards on the ground. Brings up a punting situation for Jet Moyer and crew. Moyer back to boot it at his own 26-yard line. Back to return Dylan White inside his own 25. A nice punt high in the air for Moyer. Taken back at the 19 by White. Room to run at the 25, at the 30, down the far sideline, 35, 40, 45, 50. Gets a couple of blocks. 45, 30, pardon me. He's so fast I can't even count that fast. And he's in the end zone. But once again, a flag down at the 46. Well, he turned on the Jets between the 45 and the 30 of Ulysses. And it was like he covered all 15 yards in one step. But I think this is going to be the second punt return for a touchdown that'll be called back on an illegal block. As the official standing there next to the flag and talking to him is Joel Kafka. And it appears as though this will be coming back. The flag at the Dragon 49-yard line, and they will indeed mark it off from there. Legal block on the kickoff return. For the Dragons, their 5th penalty for 44 yards, and as the Dragons get closer to the end of the season, that'll be less and less something that Coach Nicholson wants to see, is penalties taken on special teams plays like that when you have a player as dangerous as Dylan White that can return a punt for a touchdown at any given time. Can do without some of those penalties that they've had on the return. So the Dragons out of a shotgun set from their own 39-yard line. Quick give to Evans left side. Evans making a man miss at the line of scrimmage and then trips over a tackler at the 45. Earns himself a few extra yards to the 46-yard line. A gain of 7 for Brandis Evans. And I would highly expect the Dragons to be much more ground-oriented in this particular drive. 2nd down and 3. Ball spotted at their own 46 at the far hash. I formation. Tight end to the near side. The give once again to Evans. Makes a man miss again at the line of scrimmage and is tackled by the ankles at the 50-yard line. He's far enough forward for a 1st down for Pittsburg High. Alex Corpus on the stop for Ulysses. A gain of 5. And the 2nd down carry for Brandis Evans. That'll recharge the set of downs. Evans, 13 carries, 56 yards, leads the team in both categories today. And a day where Pittsburgh has picked up 110 yards on the ground, 239 through the air. Rourke under center. Rourke spins. He'll take it himself. And I think tripped over a blocker in that circumstance. Got caught up with Jorge Estrada as he crossed the line of scrimmage. And they'll mark him forward to the 48, a gain of just 1 on the quarterback keep. An offensive line for Pittsburgh has been moving bodies, but particularly in pass protection, they've been good. They've allowed Rourke time to either get out of the pocket and throw on the run or step up in the pocket, whichever he so chooses. I formation backfield again for Pittsburgh. The give to Freeman. Freeman gets away from a tackler at the 49, got face masked at the 48, across the 45, now outside the numbers at the 40, taken down at the 38-yard line. And that flag again back at midfield or near midfield. He'll have a 1st down just based on the length of the carry itself, but I think they're going to add to it here. Face mask against Ulysses. So a 10-yard carry for Brett Freeman. He'll have the added benefit seeing the Dragons add to it yardage-wise. 3rd penalty of the game against the Tigers. They've been a bit better behaved penalty-wise than have the Dragons, but really the first quarter of this game, it was the first half of the first quarter, really. We saw 5 flags thrown against the two teams combined. Since that point, just 3 more. 2:16 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Dragons lead 34-6, and Pittsburgh marching into Ulysses territory at the 33-yard line. Rourke on the counter option to the far side. Rourke sidesteps to man at the 30-yard line and is laid to the grass at the 28 by Soto. Pickup of 5, second down and 5 coming up. This is the first drive we've seen Rourke really start to use his legs a little bit, as Pittsburgh trying to chew up some clock. They again lead 34-6, 28-point advantage. Ulysses scored for the first time on their first drive of the second half, but Pittsburgh answering the third touchdown of the day from Rourke to Dylan White. White lines up wide to the near side, I formation backfield, the give to the fullback Evans. Evans is met at the line of scrimmage and driven down just a yard past the line of scrimmage. And Jackson Becker, again, we've mentioned his name a lot today. You will get credit for the stop. We'll see where they mark the ball officially, but it looks like it'll be third down and around 5 yards to go at the 28-yard line for Pittsburgh. Ball spotted at the far hash mark. Rourke comes in from the sideline, getting the call from Tom Nicholson, head coach of the Pittsburgh Purple Dragons, looking to go to 5-0 on the season. Of course, every regular season game is so important now with 4A, the way the playoffs work. Pistol formation for the first time for the Dragons. The give to Evans. Evans trying right side. Couldn't get around the tackle before Sloan Hayden pushed him back up the middle, and Hayden gets just enough of him to take him down after a 1-yard gain. So fourth down scenario for Pittsburgh. 4th and 4 inside the Ulysses 30 at the 27. They're likely to go for it here. 25 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Pittsburgh will exit the huddle. Rourke shotgun set with trips to the near side. Dragons need 4 for a first down on 4th down. Rourke takes the snap. Rushing out of the pocket, throwing downfield, has a man, it's complete. Brett Wiemers at the 16-yard line, and he'll step out of bounds right there. An 11-yard completion. Ulysses fans wanted a hold and will not get it, and the Dragons able to reset downs. For Wiemers, that is his first catch of the day. 250 yards now for Rourke, adding to his already stellar totals on the afternoon. 1st and 10 for Pittsburgh with 9 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Ball spotted at the Ulysses 16-yard line at the near hash mark. I formation for Pittsburgh, tight end to the far side, one wide out to either side for Pitt. And the give is to Evans. Evans falls forward for just a yard, taken down around the ankles by Sanchez up front. Sanchez and Jackson Becker, both D linemen that have been all over the place for Ulysses this afternoon. The score not indicative of their efforts on the defensive line. 2-yard gain will bring to a close the third quarter, and the Dragons leading the Ulysses Tigers 34-6. We'll step aside for 1 minute, come back with the fourth. This is high school football coverage on the MyTown Media Radio Network. Welcome back. After 3 full quarters of play, the score, Pittsburgh 34, Ulysses 6. Ulysses has fought hard here in the second half after going into halftime down 27-0. Pittsburgh chewing up a lot of clock thus far on this drive. They are already above 10 plays on this drive and have 2nd down and 8 at the 14-yard line of the Tigers. Ball set at the far hash mark. Tight end to the near side. In motion goes Kafka. Play action for the quarterback Rourke. Wide open in the end zone was Jarek Butcher, and he could not bring it in. Butch had a shot, at his first touchdown of the season on the offensive side of the ball. He's got a defensive touchdown, and he knows it as he's jogging back to the huddle. You have to figure the coaching staff put that in for him because he has been just an absolute beast on the defensive side of the ball. This is the most offensive snaps he's played all year because Peyton Steele is out at tight end. Aaron Woods has in the past seen some snaps at tight end as well. 3rd down and 8 now for the Dragons after the incompletion. Rourke with trips to the near side. Shotgun set. His throw instead to the far side. It's White up in the air. Knocked away by Bencomo, but a flag. Bencomo thought he had that clean, as did the Ulysses faithful. And we'll see what the flag is for. It'll be pass interference on Bencomo. That's a tough call to swallow for the 5'6" senior. He was battling up there, got a paw on the ball, had his head turned around, but there might have been contact before that I didn't see. And so the Dragons will be half the distance now to the goal line after the flag. But an idiosyncrasy in the rule book, this passed a few years ago, a pass interference penalty doesn't mean a first down. So it's 3rd down and 1 for Pittsburgh. Rourke under center. The give to Freeman. Freeman stutter steps by the line of scrimmage, is able to stretch out inside the 5 down to the 4-yard line. So he has 3 yards, which is enough to move the chains. That came up in a game Colgan played last year. It was a very close game that Colgan was playing in last year against Olpe. And a pass interference penalty was called, but it didn't give the first down because it was so far, the original line of scrimmage was so far back from the first down line, and we saw it again here. Lone wide to the far side is Kafka. I-formation backfield here for Rourke. Rourke will give to Evans. Evans churning towards the goal line. Can't get there. Taken down shy of the goal line by Sanchez. And they'll mark him at the 3, maybe the 2. So a couple yard pickup from Brandis Evans. Second down and goal at the 2. Ball spotted again, far hash. Kafka will come out of the contest. Coming back from the sideline with the play call is Rourke. Lining up wide to the far side is Weimers now. Rourke under center. Takes the snap, loses the football. Who's got it? It could be anyone, and I think Rourke managed to snake his arm in around his center's leg and recover it at the 3. It'll be a loss of 1, and 3rd down and goal coming up. But honestly, just a good job to fall on it because the line had moved so much at that point that Ulysses, that was more of a 50-50 ball for them than it usually is when that snap isn't handled. And so now 3rd down and goal at the 3 for the Dragons. Lone wide out is Kafka to the far side. He'll go in motion right to left. Rourke takes the snap, the give to Evans, and he will barrel his way just across the goal line for a Pittsburgh touchdown. So Evans in from 3 yards out gets rewarded for his workhorse day with a score. He's got 64 yards now and 18 carries. That caps off a 15-play, 61-yard drive that took a significant chunk of the clock off. 5:40 on that particular drive for Pittsburgh, and now Bressler on to add the extra point. Brandis Evans has had himself a solid day as the fullback. Snap a little bit high. Handled well, though, by Weimers, and the kick is up and good by Bressler. So Evans rushes it in from 3 yards out, and Bressler adds the extra point to put Pittsburgh on top. It's now 41-6 here in Ulysses. We're back in 30 seconds. This is high school football coverage on the MyTown Media Radio Network. We are back in Ulysses. Pittsburgh's just gone on top 41-6 over the Ulysses Tigers. And the Tigers fought hard this entire game. Nothing here has been easy for the Dragons. Even some of the long scoring plays that they've had have been in spite of great play by Ulysses. Tipped balls being caught, fighting for balls in the air, if you will, from Dylan White. And so Ulysses nothing to hang their heads about in this game. 10:09 to play in the fourth quarter. Bressler will tee it up, and he'll kick from right to left. And again, the wind is blowing out of the south, which is the right end of the stadium. Bressler's had a couple of deep kicks already today. This one, another deep kick taken at the 3 by Alonzo Martinez. Martinez at the 10, outside the hash at the 15. Slips a man at the 20, across the 25. Taken down at the 27-yard line by Donovan Nelson. First time we've mentioned Nelson's name on special teams today. So Ulysses will have respectable starting position at their own 27-yard line. Martinez has had a few good returns on the game. A few early in the first quarter in particular, that put Ulysses out of the shadow of their own goal line after some good kicks by Bressler. Ball spotted on the near hash at the 27, and Devin Walker takes over as the Ulysses quarterback. Flings it to the near side, looking for his tight end, Hayden, and Hayden is finished off as the ball got there by Dylan Jordan, incomplete on the near sideline at the 32. Jordan, a nice job to break that ball up, laying a little lumber on the near side. So Walker, in this game, 6 of 17, 96 yards, but he's been under pressure a lot. He hasn't had a ton of time to step back and throw, and when he has, he's made it count. Too wide to either side for Ulysses. Shotgun set for Walker. Walker drops back, looking at his options, looks downfield, now looks for a couple of blocks, lowers his head across the 30, and he'll sprint across the 31 to the 32 before being taken down by Miguel Zamorano. For the Dragons, a pickup of 5. And Walker, much like his counterpart in Rourke, we haven't really seen either of them do that a whole lot in this game, is tuck it and run. Rourke had a couple of carries on the last drive of import. Walker, prior to that, had just one quarterback sneak. It was his first positive gain of beyond a yard. 3rd down and 5, and a quick shovel pass in the backfield to Victor Perez, and Perez is taken down by Ethan Weidert. Ethan Weidert smelled that play out and will pick up a tackle for loss back to the 30-yard line of Ulysses. So a loss of 2 on the catch. That little shovel play has not worked for Ulysses whatsoever today. One resulting in an interception, and that one resulting in a loss of 2 yards, thanks to the solid play of Ethan Weidert. And Dragons expecting a punt here from Jet Moyer on 4th down. Moyer back at his own 15. Will kick it towards the far sideline, just trying to keep it away from Dylan White. And it was closer probably to Trevor Stover on the far sideline than it was White. Tom Nicholson will pick up the football and heft it over to the far sideline official. The Dragons will take over with good field position at the Ulysses 42 as that ball intended to go directly towards the sideline. That it did, and Ulysses will probably just take the fact that they're giving Pittsburgh the ball in decent field position versus taking any chance. Dylan White returning it. White's had 2 touchdown returns called back due to one, a personal foul, and another, a hold. Timeout called now, and we'll step aside for 30 seconds. 8:34 remaining in the fourth quarter. Dragons with the ball back and a 41-6 lead over Ulysses. This is high school football coverage on the MyTown Media Radio Network. So after the timeout, Dragons with the ball at the Ulysses 42-yard line after Ulysses kicked it intentionally out of bounds to try and keep it away from Dylan White. The Dragons lead 41-6, and looking at the schedule ahead for Pittsburgh, doesn't get any easier from here on out. At home against Mill Valley, at Olathe East, at home against DeSoto, all 3 going to be difficult games for the Dragons, who provided the score stands will move to 5-0 on the season. New quarterback in for Pittsburgh. I'll tell you about it in just a second here. And the carry up the middle for a loss. So we've got a new running back in the game. This is Brandon Petty. He'll lose a couple of yards, courtesy the Jackson Becker tackle. And in at quarterback right now for the Dragons is Grant Rolfs, at least according to my roster, the freshman. Underneath center, I formation backfield. Rolfs spins, hands off to the fullback. A nice couple of side steps for Donovan Nelson, and he'll have a first down across the 35, across the 30, down to the 29-yard line. Pickup of 15 yards for Donovan Nelson on his first carry of the game. So you've got Nelson, the fullback, Petty, the tailback. Just coming into the game is Christian Stover. Stover will help relay the play to the rest of the huddle, and back in comes Grant Rolfs. Rolfs, not very often you see a quarterback wearing number 26, but that's what you've got right here. Rolfs under center, I formation backfield. Rolfs turns, hands it to Nelson. Nelson dives forward for a yard, and that's all to the 28-yard line. The Dragons have not had a huge opportunity this season to get some reserves in and get playing time. At least they haven't since week 2. 2 weeks ago, 3-point game against Blue Valley North. Last week, a 3-point game against a rival in Fort Scott. So got a little playing time against Labette County, got a little playing time against Chanute, but outside of that, no varsity action until today. Rolfs underneath center. Again, it's Petty dotting the I formation, one wide to either side. Rolfs turns, hands it to Petty. Petty angles right side but can't get anywhere after he reached the line of scrimmage. Nice stop by the left side of the Ulysses offensive line. And once again, Lalo Sanchez in on a play along with Jackson Becker. And now Becker will come in for a sub. Becker and Sanchez up front have had a great game against this running attack of Pittsburgh. They've held Pittsburgh to fewer than 4 yards per carry. Rolfs comes back in from the sideline. 3rd down and 9 for Pittsburgh at the Ulysses 28. Likely 4-down territory, under 6 minutes to play in the 4th quarter. Rolfs checks the scene, goes underneath center, sends a man in motion on the left side. Rolfs, delayed give. It finds its way into the hands of Petty. Petty off right tackle across the 25. Slipped up at the 24-yard line. Gain of 4. Set up 4th down. They'll mark him all the way to the 23. So gain of 5 for Petty. Brings up 4th down and 4 for the Dragons. And again, likely to go for it here in Ulysses territory at the 23-yard line and the 35-point lead. 5:20 remaining in the 4th quarter. Shotgun set up for Rolfs. He's got Nelson to his left, Petty to his right. Rolfs takes the snap, fakes the give, back to throw. Throwing deep far side, incomplete. Coverage provided by Ben Como. The pass intended on the far side. It appeared for Hayden McCoy. The 6'5 sophomore is being defensed by the 5'6 senior. And in that case, the 5'6 senior able to stay with him. Force the incompletion. And now the Dragons will switch to defense as Ulysses takes over on downs. So Ulysses from their own 23-yard line, 5:08 remaining in the 4th quarter. Snap taken by the Ulysses reserve quarterback, and this is Jet Moyer. Moyer angling off left side, tackle across the 35, has room to run across the 40 all the way to the 41-yard line. A pickup of 18 by Jet Moyer and a first down for Ulysses. Ball spotted at the Ulysses 41 now. A couple of linemen rush off the field. It looked like Lalo Sanchez was little hobbled up on that last play. Darwin Maxwell also coming out of the game for Ulysses. And now they're going to break the huddle, and Julius Cifuentes coming out of the game after they broke the huddle. Underneath center. Here's Moyer, drops back, delays, and then is taken down, loses the football. They're going to say he was in the grasp, though. Sack made by Xander Drenick at the 35-yard line, a loss of 6. Drenick able to get to the quarterback. Moyer saw the pressure coming. That's why he delayed a little bit in the backfield, trying to step up, but unfortunately for him, Drenick was waiting there and stopped him for a loss of 6. Second down and 16 now coming up for Ulysses, under 4:30 to play in the fourth quarter. Dragons up by 35. Moyer again underneath center. Does have Soto in the backfield along with Nagel. Play action for Moyer, the lefty. Chucks it out to the near side as Hayden at the 41. Across midfield is Hayden before taken down into Dragon territory at the 47-yard line. Stop is made by Trevor Stover. But a significant gain on that play to the tight end. Go for 18 yards in the first completion for Moyer. 37 yards on 3 catches for Hayden. Moyer brings his team quickly up to the line at the Dragon 47. Moyer, counter, near side to Soto. Soto, a nice cutback at the 40, room to run. 35, cuts back again at the 32, at the 30. Back inside the hash mark at the 25, keeps his feet moving inside the 20, all the way down to the 15. What a run by Edgar Soto. They'll mark him forward to the 14-yard line. A pickup of 33 yards, the longest carry by far for this Ulysses team all day. Soto changed direction. That looked like a 1950 NFL Films highlight several times as he scampered downfield, in and out of the hash marks. He weaved and now woven. It was woven. We'll say that. Split backfield. The give to Nagel. Dives up the middle. He'll gain to the 11. Nagel, the de facto fullback for Ulysses, had 6 carries for 34 yards in the first half. In the second half, just 2 for 4 yards. They've kind of gotten away from that with the score being the way it is. Ulysses down 41-6. Second down and 7 now for the Tigers. Moyer will be out of the shotgun. Soto to his left, 2 wide to either side. Takes the snap, looks to throw across the middle. Ball was tipped and incomplete. Intended for Julius Cifuentes. And that ball was tipped incomplete, it appeared, by Logan Hartman of the Dragons. So Hartman getting credit for the pass defense there. It's first incompletion from Moyer. Brings up third down and 7 for Ulysses at the Dragon 11-yard line. See an ambulance coming into the premises here in Ulysses. That's not good. Hope everything is well in that circumstance. As Moyer hands off up the middle. The give is to Nagel. And Nagel, check that. The give is to Alonzo Martinez, taking over in Nagel's spot. And Martinez gets to the 8-yard line, a pickup of 3 on his first carry. And so now we have 4th down and 4 for Ulysses. Inside the Dragon 10. At about the, call it the 9-yard line. Well, we'll call it the 8. It's 4th down and 4. Underneath center, here's Moyer. They go for it on 4th down. The give to Martinez. Martinez looking off tackle left side, but he is wrapped up in the backfield. A great tandem stop over on that far side by Lawrence Allen and Brandon Petty as they combine to stop Martinez at the 9-yard line. Loss of 1 and a turnover on downs. So Pittsburgh takes over deep in their own territory at their own 10 with 2:20 remaining in the fourth quarter. And the directive now for this offense will be just to not turn it over and get out of Dodge with the victory in this case. Looks like Ethan Light is in at quarterback now. Light under center. I formation backfield. New setup for the Dragons. Not in terms of formation, but in terms of personnel that's on the field. Dive up the middle to the fullback. And no gain. That's Donovan Nelson still in there as fullback. They've got a new tailback, though. So Nelson with the carry for no gain. So Rolf's in the last series at quarterback. And this series, again, Ethan Light taking over. Ty Rourke, a stellar day. I'll talk about it more on the postgame show. 250 yards, 4 touchdowns for him. Light giving some last-minute instructions to Nelson before he lines up with 1:36 left on the clock in the fourth quarter. Light, toss sweep over to the near side. Taking it is Malachi Gatewood. And Gatewood is lifted off his cleats and driven to the grass at the 10. And there's a flag down in addition. So we'll see what the call is and say a chop block against Pittsburgh, and will they go ahead and accept it? Yes, they will. And this will mark them back half the distance to the goal. So the give to Gatewood had gone for no gain anyway, but play wiped out due to a chop block. 6 flag against Pittsburgh, 49 yards against, and now they'll have second down and 15 from their own 5. 1:20 remaining in the fourth quarter. Figure maybe 3 more plays here in this contest. Gatewood dotting the offset I for the Dragons. Snap taken by Light. He'll pitch it to Gatewood, takes it across the 5, and then he's met at the 6 and driven back. Good defensive stop on the left side by who else but Sanchez. Sanchez and Jackson Becker once again combining on that stop. A 1-yard gain for Gatewood. His first official carry of the game after his last one got wiped off by a penalty. And it'll bring up third down and 13. They'll give Gatewood credit for a couple on that carry. And now we're under 35 seconds to play. Light comes in from the far sideline. This will probably be the last play of the ball game here on third down. Light underneath center. Fullback is Nelson. Tailback, Gatewood in the eye. Snap taken. Handoff to the fullback, Nelson, and he'll angle to his right. Gain across the 10 to the 11. He'll pick up a few, and that'll be the way this game ends. The final score, Pittsburgh 41, Ulysses 6. Pittsburgh comes out to western Kansas and is able to return with a victory. A 2-day trip for the Dragons results in a 35-point win for Ulysses. They fall to 2-3 on the season. They'll have to wait a week to bounce back as they'll take on Labette County 2 weeks from now. And then Ulysses will visit Abilene to close out their regular season. Pittsburgh has Mill Valley at home next week, a 6-day turnaround before they face the Jaguars and one of the better teams historically, at least over the last few years in the state. Again, the final 41-6 here. Pittsburgh wins it over Ulysses. We are back in 2 minutes with the postgame show. This is high school football coverage on the MyTown Media Radio Network. Welcome back to the press box here at Maxwell Field. The final score, the Pittsburg Purple Dragons over Ulysses. And again, the final here, 41-6. We'll be joined by Tom Nicholson, or at least that's what he said at one point in time. We would be joined by him at the conclusion of this game. And he'll come up in just a moment after he addresses his team after a very, very long trek out to western Kansas State. The night in Garden City last night, tried to do a walkthrough in freezing cold weather, and then came out here for a 2 o'clock start, a very unusual circumstance, playing a 2 o'clock start on a Saturday, but they emerged victorious 41-6 against the homestanding Tigers. And again, Tigers an opportunity to bounce back, not next week, but 2 weeks from now. They'll be in southeast Kansas at Lamette County, so that's something certainly to note. If you're over there in southeast Kansas, you want to see this Tiger team in action, that'll be your opportunity in 2 weeks. Let's get you to the final game stats, and we begin with the Ulysses Tigers. Javian Bencomo, 3 carries for 5 yards. Victor Perez, 2 carries for 6 yards. Jet Moyer came in the game late as the quarterback, was the erstwhile punter, 2 carries for 12 yards. Edgar Soto, 6 carries for 36 yards. Devin Walker, 5. Lost 22 yards there, largely quarterback sacks there against Walker, as he, time to time, when he dropped back, was running for his life. Alonzo Martinez, 2 carries, 2 yards, and Andrew Nagel leading the team in carries with 8, also leading in yardage with 38. They averaged 2.75 yards per carry on 28 totes for 77 yards. Through the air, Devin Walker, 7 of 18, 94 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. That interception, by the way, on a tipped ball, not a clean interception, so to speak. Through the air, Jet Moyer was 1 for 2, 18 yards there in the fourth quarter. Overall, 14 yards per completion, 5.6 yards per attempt through the air for Ulysses. 8 receptions for the team, 102 yards, 3 for Sloan Hayden for 37, 3 for Victor Perez for 38, and Julius Cifuentes, 2 for 27. And it was Perez with the touchdown in the third quarter. In fact, that was the lone touchdown for Ulysses in the contest. For Pittsburg High, Brandis Evans, 18 carries, 64 yards, and a touchdown. Dylan Jordan with 2 carries for 31 yards. Dylan White, 1 for 5. Ty Rourke, 6 carries, negative 20 yards. Again, a few of those from quarterback snacks. Pardon me, I keep saying snacks. I think I'm hungry. Quarterback sacks against the Dragons. One also on a lost snap, or a wayward snap, I should say. Brent Freeman, 9 carries, 56 yards, and a touchdown. Donovan Nelson, 4 carries for 19 yards. Brandon Petty, 3 carries for 3 yards. And Malachi Gatewood, 1 carry for 1 yard. Grant Rolfs attempted 1 pass. Ty Rourke did the rest of the passing for the Dragons. 13 of 17 through the air, 250 yards, 4 scores. Dylan White, 6 catches for 163 yards and 3 touchdowns. Joel Kafka, 3 catches for 33 yards and 1 of those scores. Brett Weimers with 1 catch for 11 yards. Brett Freeman, 2 catches for 28 yards. And Trenton Austin with 1 catch for 15 yards. Overall, the Dragons averaged 19 yards per reception and 14 yards per passing attempt. So again, those are the final game stats here from this contest between Ulysses and Pittsburg High. I think it's fair to say a career day for Ty Rourke on offense, and a career day for Dylan White on offense. And again, Dylan White's had some good games in the past, both on special teams and defensively, but today really blossoming in terms of his offensive output. It's not as though he hasn't caught his fair share of passes to this point this year. He's caught 10 passes for 234 yards and 3 scores to this point, but again, 6 for 163 yards and 3 scores here this afternoon. We return in 2 minutes with Tom Nicholson, head coach of the Dragons, right after this. This is high school football coverage on the MyTown Media Radio Network. Welcome back to Ulysses, everyone. Trent Kling joined up here by Tom Nicholson after the 41-6 victory over Ulysses tonight. Well, or I should say this afternoon, really. I know you got a long trip back home, but first I want to start off just with the beginning of the game. You know, Ulysses came, they drove the ball pretty well. Your defense held just enough. You know, their defense played well your first couple of offensive plays, and then you hit that big strike down the right sideline from Rourke to Dylan White. What did that one play do for you the rest of that game?
Well, the first two plays, you and I talked before the game, and we thought we could be a little faster than them on the edge, but they did a nice job scraping over the top, and they had a lot of guys inside the box and just outside the tight end, so they were basically going one-on-one backsides, and they stuck with that. That's why we hit those 2 or 3 touchdown passes early. They were really committed to stopping our run game, and that opened it up for the rest of our wideouts out wide. D-line did a nice job giving Ty time, and Ty did a nice job putting the ball where our guys could go get it.
You mentioned them trying to take away the run game. You ended up passing a ton in the first half. I think 13 to 14 attempts there in the first half. Ty had a career day through the air, 4 touchdowns there. Is it comforting as a coach to know that even if they're going to take away your ground game, that you have options and you have a quarterback that can deliver to those options?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Because we're still Pittsburgh. We still want to run the ball. We want to try to be physical, and quite frankly, first half they were a little more physical than we were between the tackles, and they had more bodies than we could pick up. The lanes just weren't there. And to be able to have the weapons we have on the outside, and for Ty to be able to read and get the ball to them, I think it's got to make teams play honest. And if they want to continue to load the box, then you get 4 touchdown passes.
Defensively, after that first drive where Ulysses moved the ball, and they moved it a little bit on the second drive before the interception there, it seemed like you really adjusted, were getting hats to the ball and to where the ball was going to be. Did you feel like your defense did a pretty good job of staying at home, assignment football?
Yeah, and that honestly, I have nothing to do with that defensive side. Coach O'Brien and his staff do everything. They do the game plan, they do the checks, they let me know what they're doing, and that's it. I mean, that's their baby. They know it inside and out. They do a good job with it. I know they hit us on a few plays. They converted that fake punt to keep their drive going on the first one. Guys were doing what they were doing, but at some point you got to give the other team a little credit. They were firing off the ball, and their running back, number 22, is a load. That kid. He's tough to bring down. He runs very hard behind his pads, and it took more than one guy to get him down. So they came out and hit us in the mouth a little bit on that first drive, and I'm not sure on the adjustments they made. We were in the same defensive front, but I think our kids got their legs under them a little bit and started running the football a little faster.
Now, you and I talked before the game, too, about the fact that Butch is playing a little bit of tight end tonight, and I know he doesn't usually take a ton of offensive snaps for you. Yeah. In terms of the play, you had him left corner of the end zone there. Was that a little bit of a reward for his defensive play to this point this year?
Well, yeah, that, and he'd done a nice job on the offensive side. And Jared Butcher's one of the best athletes on our team. He's a 3-sport all-state kid in all 3 sports. He just thought about it too much. It was too wide open. Talk to receivers, and they hate it when they're that open. That kid makes that catch 99 out of 100 times, and nobody's going to say a word about it because he's still upset about it. But he's a kid that's one of our leaders and one of our best players, and that play's over with.
Now, but you lead me to my next point, which is, again, taking that many snaps on the offensive side. Absolutely. You guys ran to his side an awful lot, and he had a lot of seals on the edge, that type of thing. How happy were you with the way that he was able to just pick up almost like he had been playing there all year?
Extremely. And he really hadn't taken hardly any reps there until this week. And, it's 2 o'clock. Nobody would have guessed it, but it's hot today. I mean, that sun came out, and it heated up pretty nice. Kid didn't come off the field hardly at all for us, and he's on a couple special teams. So, he played his tail off. He did well, and I hope nobody remembers that play because he was. We were counting on him. The tight end in our offense is a pivotal guy. He's either got to climb to linebackers or he's got to hook the end every single play for us. It's the most difficult position on the offensive line, and he did a great job for us today.
There have been some very good tight ends in years past for Pittsburgh High, and he was no exception today.
Absolutely.
So, well, Coach, excellent. Congratulations on the win. Hey, it doesn't get any easier. I don't have to tell you that. Turn around Mill Valley, Olathe East, and DeSoto to close out the season. Good luck the rest of the way. It was good seeing you today.
I appreciate it. Good to see you guys.
Absolutely. That's Tom Nicholson, head coach of the Pittsburgh Purple Dragons. And that'll do it for us here from Maxwell Field in Ulysses. The final score, 41-6 in favor of the Dragons. They emerged to 5-0. Ulysses falls to 2-3. Big thanks to Skylar back in the studio, our producer engineer. Big thanks to Mike Snow helping us get on the air here. And a big Big thanks to Lindsey Kling working video. I'm Trent Kling. It was a pleasure being back on the air in Southeast Kansas, even if it is just for one game. Have a great rest of your Saturday afternoon. You've been listening to high school football coverage on the MyTown Media Radio Network. All right, man. I appreciate it. Thank you.